Hi, this is Jeff Berry, and welcome to the Nature Calling channel, where we aim to deepen connection to the earth and to the spirit of life and to all our kin on this beautiful planet. So I'm back in my hometown, Frankston, southeast of Melbourne, by the beach, as you can see. Some beautiful salt water down there that I'll be swimming in later in the week when it gets hot. But what I wanted to reflect upon while I'm here is that tension between becoming independent, becoming who we feel we truly are and can be as a person, and staying connected, being true to our people, our relationships, our place. I'm really feeling that at the moment. I'm in my 50s now, and my parents are in their 80s. So I visited mum, visiting dad, and I'm thinking about how much when I was a teenager here, I was just desperate to break free. And how much I did that and found myself in a lot of ways, and sometimes kind of quite damaging ways of pulling apart so hard, fast and strongly that I really lost a lot as well. But then wanting to get that back and realizing that we have to go through this process of becoming. And in fact, if you put that into the bigger, deep time perspective, the mythic perspective, if you will, that's really the story of the West. The great dream to be independent of tradition, independent of place. That's the dream that's behind capitalism and behind colonization, beneath them both. To escape the past, in a way, to steal the power of the gods, to be ultimately free. We'll come back to Prometheus, I guess, as I so often do. And I'm just seeing myself as playing out this microcosm, this echo of that same great dream, reflecting back on what it was like to want to break free, to want to find myself, to want to be my own person as a young adult. And now coming back and realizing that I've done that to a great extent, but really wanting to also keep those relationships, to remember this place that was special to me, to remember what it means, to feel at home here in a different way. Hopefully you'll get something out of this too. I suspect there's a lot of us that become adults and look back upon that often painful process of breaking free and wonder, what's the right middle ground there? What's a healthy way of doing that? Keeping connection and finding self. I think that's a worthy thing for reflection. And when I reflect upon this and all the crazy risk-taking behaviours that we indulged in as teenagers around Frankston, I really think what it's about is initiation, and about the lack of a functioning, real initiation process that can turn children into adults, especially boys into men. Really missing, and not the first person to point this out. Paul Shepard in Nature and Madness showed how it had become a feature of Western society since ancient times. And definitely when I was studying anthropology in the 90s, it came up as a topic of conversation too. You know, we have our little rituals and ceremonies. We get our driver's license, maybe have a 21st birthday. We don't get taken out into the bush. We don't get reconnected with nature at a deep soul level. We don't get the opportunity to have our psyche really removed from what it was and transformed into what it can be. And I think if we did that with some loving attention, we could still have great results. And that doesn't have to be for that classic initiatory age of pubescent, adolescent, teen type young people anymore. Anyone can be initiated into a more soulful, nature-connected path at any time. And I feel like that's the missing ingredient between that desire to break free and that equal desire to remain connected. I don't think the siren's for me, but maybe we're kind of in a long emergency. It's what it got called in eco-psychology, right? This long, slow unraveling of the social fabric at the same time as the ecosystem is breaking down. Has there ever been a more important time for us to initiate into a soulful, nature-connected, community-minded psyche, self? I'd like to see more of that. The thing that's missing, of course, is initiation. You got a young person, or let's just say an uninitiated person, and they really want to start exploring outside the limits of the psyche that they've been socialized into so far. Out into the world, outside of the laws, maybe the children's laws or the tightly conformed social, religious, other types of laws. Test those a bit. Parental control, obviously, for your teens. It's about expanding psyche. A good initiation ceremony doesn't just take someone from one place to another, going through a state change, undoing the tightness of their psychic control, the limits of their being, expanding those so they can explore another way of being, and also concreting the change, making that a transformation, not just an exploration. So that goes from state change to stage change. But like I said, coming back home, we're a place where I grew up. What has made me wonder is, how do I also come back to that community, to that place, to that feeling of belonging after and including all that exploration? Not just from one place to another, from one person to a greater person, to a bigger picture. Sure, I'm going to make some mistakes. I think that's part of the idea, isn't it? That's how we really learn. I'm going to cross some boundaries, might not have been so wise to cross. I'm going to undo some safety nets that maybe I could have done with at some stages. I've certainly done all those things. You know, you think about that classic adolescent phase when you really need to be initiated into being a proper adult. Proper adult, by that I mean emotionally intelligent, mentally balanced, capable, hopefully compassionate adult. On the way between that pubescent, adolescent child to that capable adult, we have a lot of risk-taking. We have people that want to fit in with their peers, and one of the ways of doing that is rebelling against their elders. We have all those markers of teen life. I certainly explored them. But you know, that's just one transition, one initiation. And for a start, most of us haven't even gone through that. So I think what we need to do right now, what I need to do and what I need to share is a way of expanding the sense of self so that I can know myself outside of the tight strictures or boundaries or controls of my socialized self. I can press out into those laws, into those control mechanisms, whether they be religious or capitalist or community-based, and find out what it's really like to be a whole being and to integrate that experimental, investigative, explorative, law-breaking, sometimes outlaw, bringing in that rebel into a fully integrated being who's comfortable with themselves because they don't feel like they just towed the line. They don't have to question things about themselves anymore because they've gone out and found out who they really are. And I think if you're lucky, you might get to find out you're someone who belongs in a place and in a community, and who also is not limited by that, who belongs in a body-mind, in a sense of self that's comfortable with their own humanity, their personality, but also with more than that, with being at home with our kin in our ecosystem, with being ecologically literate beings. An expanded sense of self that's grounded, embodied, and also transcendent, open to limitless opportunities and relationships with all that is, because we've gone out there and explored what those things might be. That, for me, would be a great initiatory process for anyone of any age. A truly eco-psychological initiation is what I seek, and I would love to share that with people, because as Linda Buzzell said to me in our conversation today, it's through sharing that we really discover the riches of this work. Through sharing, through making a community, a circle of people, all of them different, all of them with different skills and qualities, all with their own authentic way of being, but all connected. Connected in place, connected to each other. A community of souls in an ecosystem, a real, physical, material ecosystem. It's been good to come home and rediscover all this stuff. Thank you. Sand, sun, sea, and home. Thanks for watching, and please consider liking this video. And if you want more content like this, subscribe, and the nature calling bell will toll for you. This is Jeff signing off.